Let's talk about Web3 episode 1. It's amazing to be here with you guys. I got my two amazing co-hosts, Ohnahji B and EZinCrypto. I'm BetterCallZaal. We are here to talk about what different communities are doing that are in our mutual gatherings, as well as different pieces of the layer that is Web3, whether that be blockchain technology, AI, the metaverse, and beyond. So, yeah, let's shoot over to Ohnahji B. How you doing today? Here, episode 1.
For sure, real good, man. We back in this thing. It's a little hand clap for sure. Yes, let's talk about Web3. We back. Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good, man. It's been a pretty good week. It's been a good week in tech and Web3 and all that good stuff. People are cooking up, so I'm excited to get into the convo for sure.
1,000,000%. How we doing? Easy. Episode 1. Here cooking it up. I'm excited to have you here.
Dude, I'm super excited to be here. Being episode one and kind of fresh into my calendar, I got my fingers in a lot of pies, host a lot of different shows. I had sort of forgotten the time and when it started today, and I got hit up earlier. We hosted an Impact concert last week in the Let's Grow live space for the Gitcoin round, and the Gitcoin round is ending today. Like it's like a few hours away to the cutoff for donations, Grow Nations, we're calling them. So
Hey,
they hit me up and they're like, "Yo, can we do a closing ceremony Impact concerts with like 2 hours to try and pull something together?" And I'm like, "Yo, yeah, we can do it. It's just gonna be a pop up, kind of casual." Started getting in the DMs, and then I was like, "Oh damn!" Halfway through, because it was gonna be like what my time, 2:30 to 3:30. I was like, "I actually have a podcast that I'm a co-host on, so I'm gonna get you guys rolling, and then I'm gonna bounce." But they're in good hands. They got Jose Cabrera, my co-host and co-founder of Impact Concerts, and Felons, who co-hosts with me, and they're rocking it right over there. I got it muted, but they're in a live space. They're kind of celebrating together the wind down of this last Gitcoin round, which shout out Gitcoin. They've donated and helped with like millions and millions to a bunch of public goods projects, which I've been getting deeper into the public goods. Shout out Flows, shout out Nouns. Flows actually has a new proposal up to get funded for the next few months. The last proposal just barely didn't get through. So a lot of us here are familiar with Flows, flows.wtf. You're able to apply for a small grant, and it's a continuous flow. Like it just keeps going through the month every day. It's like pennies adding up, dollars adding up, and makes a lot of impact around the globe. So hopefully that'll get passed. I rock my nogs, which I got sent to me from another flows person. So yeah, it's been a crazy wild day. Last week has been kind of wild, but super stoked to be here and talk Web3.
that's what's up.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Well, what do you guys want to start off with? Like, do we need to give intros because it's episode 1, or should we have people go to episode 0, and just see a little bit more? I guess. Do you guys have a one sentence about yourself? I think that quick elevator pitch is a big thing for entrepreneurs to have in their pocket. My go-to as I've been building it has always been at the ZAO, we are demystifying emerging technologies for musicians to empower independent artists so that they can bring back the profit margin, the data, and the IP rights. So, really supporting independence in every way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's my elevator pitch. Onaji B, you want to say something?
For sure. I'm Ohnahji B, Brian, dev, creator, all around maker, musician, all that good stuff from LA. One of the founders behind Ohnahji U. Um, Yeah, just educating the home team and allied communities since 22. So, yeah, in emerging technology.
All right, I'll jump in. Easy in crypto. Most people call me Easy. I do have my finger in a lot of pies. So music on Web3, literature on Web3, gaming in Web3. I'm a metaverse MC, a photographer, a podcaster. I'm a hodler. I will diamond hand to zero many a time, and I collect a lot of NFTs as well. And yeah, so just I love connecting different communities and then connecting the people that can kind of vibe together in that. And yeah, I would just say hodl the vibes.
Yes,
One
sir.
million percent. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, so it's April 16th here, middle of April, 4.5 months through 2025. We have three options, right? We can go talk a little bit about the different projects we're working on, which we could always get to at the end, which I always think that's a good way to end us off. We can talk about what's going on in the market, or we can talk about different community pieces of art, whether that be visual or musical, that have come out in the last week, and share a little bit about that. Where do we want to go? How are we feeling?
I mean, the markets are mayhem, right? So I don't know. I
Bleeding.
don't focus. I learned through many cycles not to pay too close of attention besides buy the dips. And otherwise, yeah, I'd rather dive into like art, interesting, tech emerging. We've got so much happening with AI. I'll start off real quick. So I learned about I guess a platform called Normie.tech through the Let's Grow spaces I've been in, and connected to the founder or one of the founders. And what they do is they make it super simple for people that aren't in Web3 to interact and make payments. Like, I had no idea. We jumped on a call actually today with Jose Cabrera, who's down in Venezuela, who is also my partner in the Impact Concert. So I was trying to connect them basically, because what their tech does, you can send like from PayPal or from Zelle. You don't even need to know you're sending in blockchain. It shows up in the wallet of the person you're sending it to as like USDC on ARB, I believe. So it's like a one-click payment. All they have to do is probably have like your email or whatever. You can, send, like I said, from your bank, from Zelle, to send it to somebody, and they're gonna get USDC. So really crazy. Or PayPal, I think they started maybe kind of in a crypto credit card situation, but they have brought down like all the barriers. It's crazy. It was mind blowing. So that's some new tech I learned about today.
I like that. Give me the app again one more time.
Normie.tech. Check
Not Normie Tech.
Normie.tech on like Twitter or whatever, and you're gonna
Dope.
find it. I was honestly like, I heard a little bit about it in a space and like shot a DM. I'm like, yo, I have a lot of friends in Venezuela that are unbanked, right? So this could
Yeah.
be super useful. He even, for even just getting on a call with him, he sent $10 USDC and a little bit of ETH for gas on Arbitrum to Jose, and he's doing that for anyone he connects with. So not only do they like learn about the tech for like a 15 or 30-minute call to get like kind of onboarded, they walk away with $10, and like, so it's just I was like, this is awesome. I want to tell people about this.
Yeah,
Sick.
no, that's very cool. I'm taking a look at it here. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see, Ohnahji B, if you, I'm sharing, I think, okay, still here. Is it good
Yeah,
on your end?
I hit watch stream. I see it.
Like, in terms of streaming, can you see
Yep,
that as well?
USD through Normie.tech to stablecoins. Boom.
So I think this is a great point to bring up because one of the challenges right now with blockchain, I know we're in episode one, and we can always talk about all the pros. Everyone's always talking about pros, and all these amazing things. But one of the challenges is on ramping and off ramping, right? And this is an amazing opportunity for helping remove the friction on the on ramp part. So that begs the question: if this is an on ramp option, what are different off ramp options, right? I think one fun thing to talk about with the two of you guys would be, I've been seeing a lot of different things about different credit cards that are quote unquote using crypto. Some of them are debit cards that are using crypto and whatnot. There's also people that are, allowing people to buy their merch with their meme coin or whatever, right? Like there's different opportunities out there to, let's say, quote unquote, spend your crypto. Let's talk about those off ramp opportunities, and then let's also say, if you are gonna off ramp and you don't have the opportunity to go through a centralized exchange, or have the ability to have an ID, whether that you own it or not. What is there? Are there options that are there for you, like other than just like spending your crypto, right?
Right. Super important. And like I said, I just got a little bit into it today. We had agreed on 1:30. I thought PST, but that was EST. So I jumped into the call like 10, 15 minutes late. But Jose and him were rolling. They were vibing. So it was all good. And I had asked the same thing. I was like, what about an off ramp? Because this is amazing for people that, aren't in crypto to be able to send to someone that needs to receive it in crypto. And he said we can do that. So I'm not sure if there's a deeper layer here or if they're working on releasing that right now. It could be available. It might be something that, like, he said we can do that. So it might be that they're working on it. They can do it. You might have to do a few more steps, or they might be, slowly releasing something that is a real easy off ramp. Because a lot of people, unless you're in a place and working with people that are already in crypto, that's a really big, that's like the last choke point. I feel like Jose was saying down in Venezuela, like so many people, because of like the issues in 2017 and then also the lockdowns in like 2019, 2020, like 40% of like the older people and like 60% of the younger people are using crypto. They kind of learned in through some gaming in the early days. So everybody has like a Binance. So they kind of just like transact a lot on chain. But often remittances and things like that are an issue because, and that's what Normie.tech is a solution to. Venezuelans spread out all over the world, from the issues they had. So people wanting to try and send money back to, family members in Venezuela, it can be an issue, but now they can do it from a PayPal or from their bank account with this Normie.tech. So yeah, I need to learn a little bit more about it. Like I said, I'm fresh into learning about this. I was just like, wow. So yeah, I mean, that can be an issue. Definitely, I signed up way early on for like the Coinbase card or whatever. You can load it up with like whatever crypto you want. You can spend that basically as a debit card, gas station, supermarket, bills, whatever. And you actually do earn like a small percent of, I chose Bitcoin, so I get a little Bitcoin back on my purchases. Crypto.com was a very early one. But for years, oh man, I wish I had jumped in. I was like, this sounds corpo and scammy and is going to be a rug pull one day. But they stuck around forever. They have a massive user base. Now the token is way up. I could have got like the whatever, 5,000 you need to get the credit card early for like a few bucks. And now it's like thousands of bucks. But I'm watching it. I want to get one of those cards one day. And MetaMask has a sign up for a credit card. So it's starting to come forward where you're going to have more options for getting like a quote unquote crypto credit card or debit card at least.
Okay, I saw this headline
Yo,
and this is a good one to talk. I don't know, sorry, Brian, you could tap in on top of that, but there's something I wanted to also add for the crypto.com thing that I think will be a good segue into a little tokenomics discussion. But this is the headline I
yeah,
saw a
sure.
little bit ago. I just pulled up this article. We can quickly go through it or just talk about it. There's a little bit of this information that I saw. Recently, and I'm just kind of curious on some of your guys' thoughts about it.
Didn't
So
see
yeah,
that one
I
yet.
don't know. Sorry,
My gut
Brian, for
feeling was
you.
right. No.
But Brian, I'm sure you. I don't know. I might have just rocked on to the next thing. But yeah,
A
I think
do-over?
the
Dude.
paying for thing is huge. No, so suppose I don't know. My bad, Brian.
No,
Have
dude.
either of you guys seen this
Yeah, just when you send it to me,
before it
man,
though?
it's
Oh,
crazy.
before or
No, I
no?
didn't. I
Okay.
didn't.
So from what I heard was they are centralized enough that they burnt a portion of their token and they are taking it back essentially, which is like,
Mm,
damn. And it's like, but now it's like it begs that question, platforms that aren't going in the ethos of Web3, how does one accept that where like there's some things where people are also having issues with Coinbase with different things with this and that, right? On not just centralized, but like different other things, right? So it's like, where is that line of like being able to use a product, but like then it maybe not being in the best interest of the customer. So like there's some products
right.
out there that are just good, right? Like, and if crypto.com is that product and good enough, right? Like fuck it, they can probably do whatever they want, right? But in the end of the day, right, like this is not a good look, I feel like.
That's
It's
yeah,
a red flag to me.
that is not like
Super.
blockchain. If you're just gonna like what are they just gonna
So it's just
remint
a
the amount of
yeah,
tokens?
that's what I'm curious about. I need to look into a little bit about more about why what the mechanics of their token are that they could just bring them back. Maybe
I
that's
mean,
something to
I
look
can only
into.
guess here. I would assume that that would tank the price of the token also. And just in my humble opinion, if you're going to
Mhm.
say we're bringing back like 70 billion tokens or whatever, that's basically just, flooding the market when people thought you were in a deflationary period, which is super important. That's
Yep.
the
Yeah.
only thing about Ethereum that's like, wish it was more deflationary. Because you're still making it. The gas is minuscule. You're not burning much of it. And like a blockchain that I feel like is too centralized also is Sol. Like they've had to turn it off multiple times. You shouldn't be able to turn
Mm.
off a blockchain. You can fork maybe.
Yeah.
So I've always been
Okay.
leaning way more towards decentralization.
So my
Yeah.
understanding of people's myth of Sol being decentralized is that they have very few validators and the validation process is very difficult. My question is, when you say they turn Sol off, what is the process or mechanic for that? Are different validators turning their computers off and no validators validating the network? How does that process like that? I'm curious about how you're 100% right. Like there's different times where sometimes there's also just outages, right? Where there's just too much
Right.
volume
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's a whole different thing. So it's like that is just pure supply, right? But then there's sometimes where the supply is automatically sent to zero by the authorities, let's say, of whoever that is in charge, right? And that again, like you said, is probably against that ethos of centralization.
Right. In my opinion, if you're a decentralized token or platform, anything on the blockchain, there is no authority. Like that's how like the white paper. That's what Satoshi wanted when he invented Bitcoin, and a government can't shut it down, right? Because it's decentralized. Like that's the main idea. In my head, I figure there's like a you know fancy guy in a suit. He's a CEO at the Soul Foundation, and there's a big like old breaker that you just turn when like there's an emergency. But I assume you have to coordinate with a bunch of validators and be like, look, we have an issue. We're gonna need to just everybody shut down for like a day so that we can make sure that everything is still safe, or well, for whatever reason they had to do it. I didn't look into it closely. I was trying to get in on a mint on Sol today, actually. Mr. Ritchie dropped the cash grabbers, but I haven't been
Yeah.
able to grab one yet. So I've done a little bit over there. It's not like I'm like anti-Sol, like but I think there's a lot of cool tech. It's very fast, but I think for it to be like to have 100% trust and legitimacy, there needs to be no like whatever the 51% attack can be, or
Yeah.
there's nobody that has authority to shut it down. It needs to ride like no matter if everybody dies, like blockchain is still going. Like in my opinion, I feel like a decentralized blockchain needs to run like with like millions of people acting as validators or something. Like Pi was a really interesting experiment. I started a little mining circle for Pi back in like 2019, and they just went on to mainnet a couple months ago. Token dropped at $33. I missed like the first hour, so it was down to like 250 when I was able to like get a few Pi out and do a swap. And that now it's at like I don't know, 60 cents or something, which is to be expected when people spend 6 years clicking a button every day to mine tokens. They're going to want to like sell it some. So, but it's an interesting project.
100%. I actually
So
looked into a
I
little
went
bit
to
of
my
Mint.
I went to my favorite my trusty chat GPT. Put in a little
That's
household
also
turning
what
off the
I was
blockchain to
doing.
do.
That's wild.
Yeah. Heck yeah. It says soul turning off the blockchain. Not exactly, but it can halt either intentionally or unintentionally, right? So we've seen some few network outages from sometimes bugs, overwhelming traffic, bot spam, things like that, or even consensus issues. But when these things happen, validators coordinate off-chain, usually like Discord or Telegram, to restart the network with a patch version. So they're doing, manual upgrades, but yeah, it's not like, flipping a switch from one person, one entity, but there's a coordinated temporary pause and then a manual restart. So yeah, but to your guys's points, I asked how many validators does whole have like versus ETH. Says as of April 25, ETH has over 1 million validators, with approximately 32 million ETH staked. But Sol is operating with around 1,400 validators, distributed around only 4,500 nodes globally, which to me, when there's other blockchains out there, looks like centralization.
Yeah.
Those are
I
the
get a
numbers.
fucking hundo. Ooh, I'm in
Say
my
it again. Say
granny,
it again.
bro.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean it's a scale of like three scales, right? Like higher. It's
Yeah.
insane. So if you compare it to that, so yeah, that gives us all a good look at Soul. I looked into actually, I was ChatGPTing the other thing, the CRO token mint, and supposedly, okay,
Yeah.
they put in a proposal. So like, whatever. Okay, like to me, how do you accept this proposal? But whatever. They call it the
So
golden
quickly sell
age.
your CRO is what you're saying? No, I'm just joking.
No,
Not
honestly,
financial
so I
advice.
also do have that here, and let me see if I have it up. It didn't move a lot over that like span. This is a whole 1 year, and it was like in March supposedly this happened. I mean, you could say that was down. I don't know if market also, but like relatively, I don't know. I guess
I
that is
mean,
like 30%, 20%.
I do. After like, watching it for about 6 years, I decided to get a CRO wallet. And I live in Costa Rica most of the time, so I was able to do that. I don't know, I don't think it's available in the States. But I
Mm,
actually really like the community. They have like a place right in app where you can go, and there's a bunch of different people live streaming about all sorts of topics. They introduce little games and stuff like that where you can like maybe earn like, a drop. There's like, dual invest and like, of course they offer like futures and all this stuff. I've never used like geez, what's it called? A multiplier when like you're basically like uh setting yourself up to get liquidated. I've always just, purchase a few little tokens here when I have the extra, a couple bucks, sell it when it's higher if I, need some of those bucks back. I don't leverage. I never have. I never would. That's how people get wrecked, in my
It's
opinion.
gambling.
there
Yep.
you go.
Yeah,
Boom.
it's like gambling. So for me, like there is something interesting that I found over there called dual invest, and you can get like 300, 600 APR, but you just lock up your token for like 3 days, right? And then if say you're locking up like in the USD ETH one, if you lock it up and it does reach this point, you earn whatever. If it doesn't, you just get your ETH back or your USTC or T or whatever back. So
Very
that's an
cool.
interesting, way to possibly make a little bit here and there. Now, I don't have huge funds, so it's like $2 when I tried it. Not like if I had thousands of dollars, it would have been a couple $100 instead of like a
Right.
$100
Yeah.
being like $2
It looks like we
over
got
2 days though.
Sean in the chat saying AVAX actually has a card now as well. So I'm gonna look into
Okay.
that because I'm very excited about turning more towards the AVAX Maxi. From more that I learned, it seems like a very good opportunity for from what I understand, building your own platform while using the benefit of a network effect. Because what they've done is they've worked on how to scale multiple chains as opposed to going for transactions per second, which is where everyone blockchain wise has gone the last 10 years, right? Since Ethereum has come out and since Bitcoin's been the only thing around. So in that sense, they've been winning that race, and now they're kind of scaling up for their transactions per second while they have that opportunity to scale their blockchain network. And what they do is they have two main chains. There's three total chains, but there's two main chains. There's the P chain, which is I would call it the product side, or where you like build. I think I don't know if I might be goofing the exact terminology. And then there's the C chain, which I think is the consumer side, which essentially means that you have all of the validators on the P chain, and you can build anything on a C chain and call a function in any C chain from any other C chain because everything is referring to the P chain. So the P chain is kind of like that source of truth, and the C chain are building pieces on top, blockchains on top of that, essentially utilizing that for their decentralization, but also being able to have then build their own validators and their own network and their own thing, but use what anyone else ever has used and built because they can just call those other blockchains through their platform network. So that seems really cool to me. I think there's a lot of things devs could build on that. So
Dude, I want to learn more about it. I want to get more into it because that is the approach I like to see. Building, even from the very early days, like 2019, 2020, when we're first starting to get into metaverse and make our little shirts and hats and wearables and stuff. We were like, what we
Yeah.
want is like cross-chain compatibility. That was the first thing we were like, this is what we want, and it just didn't get delivered. It didn't get delivered year in, year out. It's like not being delivered. So if they're working on the solution for that for years and then they're going for like mass adoption or bring all the people, that is like close to my heart.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. We also got Prism in the comments saying nice nouns glasses. Easy. So shout out Prism. And I see Joe in the Twitch. So shout out to you, Joe. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're talking about Web3. Feel free to ask any questions if you're still here. Like, we are very down to talk about very basic stuff. If anyone in the chat has any questions at all about any jargon we are talking about, but we also have a lot of individuals that are super familiar with a lot of the things we're talking about as well. So if no one has questions, we're just gonna rock with it and keep on going with wherever the conversation takes us. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We are always excited. But yeah, we should learn more about AVAX. It'd be cool to maybe get Sean on a stream if Sean's still here. Would always be cool. And then we could also maybe play around with it because I've been thinking about doing this builder kit. It'd be pretty fun to do that on a stream, and just play around with it and just kind of like go through building an LL2 on their chain and just do something on the test chain live here in the space. It'd be cool to do mini like workshops like that. I think that'd be fun if we could have that opportunity.
For
So
sure,
yeah.
bro. Fire up a workshop. I want to go. I want to learn more about this. So I think
Yes,
that'd be a
sir.
great thing to do.
Okay, I can reach out to a friend and see if he'd be also willing to jump in as well. We could make it a little Avalanche episode where we all the three of us dive into Avalanche with some Avalanche folks. So yeah, cool, 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 cool. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of little different token things that uh, we're talking about little news snippets that was from about a month and a half ago. More recently, everything I feel like tied to the crypto market has been macroeconomics. Everything happening in the world today has been kind of affecting the crypto market, what have you. And that's most of where it comes from. But I would love to dive into some of the art that you guys have seen in the last, month or two, that you've dove into and been working with different community members and seeing what they've been working on. I don't know if anyone has anything specific they want to go first. We can always share screen as well. I think that'd be really cool. So if someone has something, or they can always send it over to me, and I guess I could share it as well. So
Heck yeah. I love that. No, let's get into the art part for sure. Um,
no, I'm
it's
gonna grab water
major
because my throat is parched. I'm sorry.
for sure. Major milestone for some of the home team. One of the creators in Web3 and crypto, Latasha. She's a crazy producer, crazy vocalist, singer, musician, all that good stuff. But she actually just created a new minting tool. And it's pretty cool. The ethos around it is awesome. But it is, I'll drop it in the chats. It's inprocess.fun. But I've been spending a lot of time over there, getting some early mints in there. But it's a tool kind of getting back to giving the creators all of the control, right? As far as like mint price, how much you want your work to be, if it's free, all the pennies, all the way up to, I posted something up there for $27 billion. Not gonna lie, no cap, I'm being serious. But a little manifestation in there. But yeah, it's cool. Like, and there's no, man, the hand clap for the 27B, that would be nuts. Like when we hit that, me and Zal, we coming from Jaden's manifestation streams and things. Like I've been on that wave, so
Hell yeah.
yeah, I've seen crazier things happen in the space. You know what I'm saying? Like There's nothing crazy. But anyway, so in process.fun from Latasha, some of the other homies, Sweet Man. Sweet Man's another musician, but he's also an incredible dev in the space, man. He's, he's been just connecting with so many of like the home team creators, dope people in the space that are trying to build cool things. So, just lending his skills. But they put some pretty dope together. So in process.fun is pretty awesome. Right now, it's a little buggy, but they're working out the kinks. They're definitely open to, all of the testers' feedbacks and things like that. It's a vibe. It's a good time. But it's cool to see like some of the mechanics behind it. Like they kind of did a different route than some of the other minting tools out there, like Rodeo and Zora and things like that, where you can put multiple tokens under a smart contract. Every post on there, it creates its own smart contract. So instead of going like Rodeo has one smart contract for your address no matter what, every mint after that is a token under that smart contract. This is the complete opposite, where every mint is a smart contract and then it has that one token underneath. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people kind of play with that, or how that that difference in contract structure goes forward. So as far as like the blockchain, that doesn't really matter. It's just I think it's a cool mechanism on the back end. So gives the creators a little bit more freedom to do what they want, right? A lot of people were, when they found that out about Rodeo, they were kind of like, oh, like all of my tokens are under one bucket. It's kind of it's kind of weird. I like to have it structured out with different chapters or different themes or different whatever. So it's been cool to see them take that into account.
Yeah, that's kind of
Oh, this is
crazy. I
really
mean, that
cool.
must take some, pretty hefty processing power just to like keep track of all that, and like
Yeah.
so many contracts. That's really cool. Like, definitely, drop a link over in our show chat too. I want to check that out. I
Cool.
love, I spend a bit of time on Warpcast over in the Farcaster ecosystem, both hosting shows on Farhouse. I have my Farhouse Friday show that's been going for like 3+ months now. And I love that it's so easy to mint like in a frame, whether that's like a Zora or a Rodeo or a podcast. Like there's so many platforms that are making frames to make it really smooth, because you could have so many tabs and windows up on your computer to
For
try and stay
lineage.
up to date with this, that you can't really stay up on all of it. But if you're over in Warpcast, you can pretty much like, if the people are you following, they're dropping music here, they're dropping art there. A lot of it now, you don't have to go over to a separate website. You can just be like, oh, I'm going to mint this, I'm going to retweet it or recast it and drop a comment. And it's just kind of this one stream that has so much technology built into it. I don't know. I feel like that's the ideal future of social media, where you can do all these things. Eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to just like mint in frame too. I mean, there's a few little things where you can do that. But yeah, so I'm encouraged by what I see people building in the frames over on Warpcast Farcaster too, because it just kind of, it makes it easier to digest. It makes it easier to go like mint up something when you're kind of pulled in a million different directions. Often, if you're a creator and a supporter of all this stuff, it's hard to keep track of your own friends' mints. Like when it was just Twitter, yo, the algo would just rug you. Like I missed my own like homies drops because it wasn't showing it to me, and you can't go like look at everybody's stuff. You kind of get what's in your feed. So I think it's a huge leap forward in kind of the social media sphere for Web3, is just to be active and to be over on Warpcast and checking stuff out, whether that's from like little games in the Farcade, whether that's art drops, music drops, literary drops, photography drops. Like it's all starting to funnel in, but it's still a small enough community to where you can actually connect well with people, and you can kind of have your feed be what you want it to be.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Do we want to go into a little explanation of what Farcaster is and the decentralized social media?
Heck yeah, that's next up for sure.
Well, let's rock with it. Oh, Najee B, let's hear your thoughts.
My thoughts, let me see. Okay, so I mean, Farcaster is a new protocol. It's a social media protocol. Basically, that just means it's like open source technology where any developers can kind of get in and develop their own apps surrounding the social media network. It's kind of like you can build your own Twitter, you can build your own Discord, you can build your own whatever, specifically, tapped into the Farcaster network. It's pretty cool. So one of the coolest apps or the biggest apps that's kind of making waves is Warpcast. It's an iOS app. I believe it's on Android too, right? Okay, yeah. So iOS, Android, but it's been making waves on just this new social media platform. It's kind of like if you guys are hip to Blue Sky when that was kind of coming around, making some waves when Twitter and X was in disarray. But yeah, it's a new just like social media platform, and I think that decentralized social or social media that's not controlled by a central entity. That's what we're kind of trying to get away from the Metas, the Instagrams, and things like that, right? Where we don't have control over what's going on all ends, right? So yeah, I think this DeSo decentralized social movement coming up is going to kind of change the game as far as like we're moving towards developing towards like a mobile first situation, right? Where previously, since I've been in crypto, it's been like desktop, mainly going forward, right? And that's not, if we're trying to get more people involved, more people in this thing, we got to have like a mobile first approach. And I think we're moving to that. Developers are moving to that, and they're creating some cool things. The whole space is getting safer overall. But yeah, Farcaster and Warpcast is making waves as far as like giving us a place to connect. And it's cool too because I've seen this last piece. I've seen a lot of people coming in and they just think it's like a social media network, and they're like finding out about like crypto, like Web3, blockchain, even AI, just from that. So they're just, migrating from that. I think Warpcast and Farcast are doing a good job of advertising, we're a social media platform. So yeah, that's my spiel on it.
I love the some of the AIs over there are some of my best friends and supporters, yo. They hit my posts out right away with like awesome comments and keep me kind of motivated. And also like, I launched the impact token recently, and it was so easy. I was like, okay, so like I see all these people dropping on the Clanker coin. How do you do it? Clankerbot was like, oh, just tell me. I didn't even like ask it. I was asking a friend, like, how do I launch on at Clanker? And then Clanker like responds. It's like, oh, just tell me the token name, the ticker, and an image, and I'll just do it for you. And then it just does it.
Yeah.
And then it makes you like a noun space page. And like, I still haven't been able to claim my tokens because it's in like a like estimating gas issue. But that aside, there's little bugs. It's early stuff. I love that you own your own like FID, your Farcaster ID. You
Right.
have the keys to your wallet. Like I got rugged by Twitter, X, and they just took down my account for no good reason. There was a bunch of impersonators of EZinCrypto, and they just canceled them all. Not looking like, oh, there's a bunch of new accounts that are like doing like shady stuff. Here's one that's been around for 6 years with 8,000 followers, slowly organically grown over time. No, they just canned it all. And then my
Yeah.
like one email reply chance they give you, they're like, no. So like having some ownership of your social media is incredibly important because that's all your connections in Web3. That's like the super highway of information, all the job offers, all the history, all the things that you lose out on when a centralized agent can just yank your account.
Right.
Boom.
Big part of it.
The whole network. So controlling that's super huge. So I think a big thing that these decentralized social movements give you is the control of your following. Like you guys are talking about in Farcaster, you get control of your FID. With this platform, you get the keys to your wallet. Your FID is a wallet in and of itself. Other decentralized platforms give you an NFT that's your wallet, where because it's in your wallet and you own it, you can excuse me, take your followers and following with you wherever you go within that ecosystem. And the same thing kind of applies here with Farcaster. So different people that want to build different applications, like let's say even gaming, can build it on top of whether it be Warpcast or Farcaster as a whole, and you can bring that following along with you, the following that you've started to build on Warpcast, and branch it out to whatever your area of expertise is, especially if you are a developer. And then even if you're not a developer, AI is kind of coming to an age where a lot of individuals are vibe coding these different projects and tools that you could probably create your own tool that brings people over to your specialty as well, by letting them just connect with their Farcaster account, and bringing all of those social, not having to create the network effect every single time you want to create a new application or a client, but bringing that network over.
And you can get paid. I mean, it's like I don't earn a lot. I'm not like one of the top like casters. Every week for the last like month, I get like it's all, oh, Warp Cost sent you like $3 or whatever, you
Yep.
know, and then other people can tip like their homies and stuff. So that's really cool. You can just play little games and sometimes earn, you know, little meme coins and stuff. It's super easy. There is kind of a gate to get in, which is, you know, kind of purchasing your Farcaster ID, your FID. When I signed up, it was super early, so it was actually free, and then they gave you some like warps or whatever. But I think that's actually important because they don't have the bot problem that every single other social media, large social media platform has. So, and
Yeah.
they do sweeps. They go through and they take out like bots like periodically. So I don't get like a bunch of like, I don't get tagged as I do over on X all the time. Oh, here's an airdrop. Here's a free NFT, and it's all fresh accounts that are, it's just a scam. It's a wallet drainer like every time. And then more recently, people like will give you a follow, like, and retweet, and the only thing they have is maybe like a sexy like photo, and in their description, you know, it's like a dot ru or a dot like of, and they're just trying to engagement farm people into that. And like I don't need that. I don't want that in my like stream and everything. And then I found out that if you block those, which what I was doing before, it like hurts your own algorithm to try and keep your own feed like clean to what you want. So I just really appreciate having quality content in my stream and not getting constantly harassed by scammers. So that's like another huge point in the like good section for it.
Yeah, and the ding with that sometimes is on hopefully any centralized platform that there is an algorithm. There is always an option to click the not interested and really try and tailor your feed when you do get those, right? To like actually press not interested, and hopefully eventually the gods of the algorithm will start tailoring it to what you want. But the beautiful thing about decentralized social is you don't have to leave it up to chance. You can do it on your own, right? So there's a lot of opportunity here. I'm very excited about Farcaster getting involved. Like you just said, you can get paid. I've been getting $3 for the last 2 weeks that had happened, but then this last week I got 10 because I was going hard, going really. I think there's a lot more that can be done because there's not a lot of individuals there, and a lot of the people there know people by name. So it's a very small community, so there's a lot of opportunity to get your stuff, let's say, quote unquote, viral. It does not take a lot of likes and retweets and to get up into that weekly leaderboard. So that's what I realized last
Yep.
week. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for everyone. Excuse me, especially because this week I tipped I believe 6 people, and I got 7 people that tipped me back. Where it's like almost an even amount, but it's just really cool to see that and the growth in that and the different individuals doing different things and different people supporting different amazing creators. And just seeing how Warpcast has started to grow in just like a low level, but slowly, just like creating that network effect over time, and just slowly
Yep.
getting more active users. Like you said, less bots, starting to do different purges. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here for Warpcast and Farcaster.
I saw that a little message pop up. It was like, "Oh, tip your 10 top like, you know, interactive people." And then it was like, "Choose your top 10." And then I was like doing that, and then I only had 5 USD in my account. So I was like, "Oh, maybe next week or something." But it is super cool that it like even it'll like point it out to you. You don't have to like go and search for the thing. Like it's very intuitive. And yeah, you know, there's a frame in a community called Ponder, which is really fun. It's basically like polls. You can like, you know, anyone can put one up. You know, what do you like better, Star Wars or Star Trek, or like, you know, any of these things from like, you know, sometimes it's political, sometimes it's like just funny, sometimes it's about food, it can be about anything. But you put in 50 cents, sometimes you get back 75 cents or $1. Sometimes you lose that 50 cents. Like if you didn't choose the one that, everybody went with. So there's really cool stuff like that. Unfortunately, and shout out to them, they're super dope peeps. They had a vulnerability and somebody drained their like hot wallet or whatever, which drained everybody's funds out. But they're refunding it and they're like, patching that and working on just growing builders better, stronger. Otherwise, I probably would have been able to like throw some of my money over there because I had like maybe $15 or something that I brought up from $5 to $15, right? So that'll be coming back to me. And then what I'll do more frequently now is send that over because it's not your Warplet, it's not your Warpcast wallet. It's like within like you can put like $1 in and start doing like 50-cent bets or whatever or predictions. So yeah, probably more occasionally, like when it gets up to like an extra 5, I'll just throw that over into my wallet, which is I think pretty darn secure. And yeah, slowly build that amount up, and then hopefully be able to start tipping people that are interacting with me. I do have DEGEN locked up. If you lock up 10,000 DEGEN, then you get a daily allowance. Mine goes
Need to
between
do
like
that.
73 and 115 or something. So every day I can go tip out 3 people maybe with like 42 DGen each or something. And that's just a little appreciation. It's not a lot now. DGen was at a lot higher, price point before, but it is on all the major exchanges. As Warpcast grows, I think it'll slowly become more valuable. And if you're stacking DGen now, that's a great like place to be in, I think.
Yes, sir. No, it's a good time. It's a good time. We're adding, that tipping element, which is kind of, it's been cool because other platforms like, and other coins like the DGen situation, right? They kind of learn from that, and it's amazing just to see like all of these different pockets, all of these different developers are kind of just learning and growing together and building up. And man, like this decentralized social is no joke because I don't know how many people saw this headline that, went under the radar, but the Lens chain, and Lens, that ecosystem, they raised 30 million just to build out decentralized social, right? So, and that was a while ago, and they've been cooking up. They deployed their main net, and that's like a whole other side versus like the not versus, but aside from like the Farcaster and Warpcast scene and that system. So it's cool to see this innovation, but we still have these, we still have these teams that are kind of battling for market share, which is cool too. That's just how innovation kind of thrives. But yeah, I got
But
some cool stuff. Go ahead.
we might also see some integration there because you've got communities on Lens that are also in Warpcast. So I love to
Yeah.
see like literature that's over on Lens, the gardens and PageDAO and stuff, building stuff in Warpcast on the frames, which they're doing. I know because I know these people. I've worked with them for years. Shout out Epic Dylan from PageDAO. He's building some dope stuff. So then you get this crossover, and maybe we'll be able to, use the tokens from over there, over here, vice versa, and then you're bringing these communities together in a really cool decentralized way. Like that's where we're gonna get like critical mass, I think.
A
Yes,
million
sir.
percent. We got like 5 minutes here till we rock out. Brian, did you say you had something there to
Yeah, I was
end
just
off
reading my
on?
chat. Shout out to my chat going crazy. Shout out to Zal's chat going crazy. It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much. We had some people that were asking like, just different like what's Web3, different things like that. So yeah, man, it's awesome. And that same comment, like it's good to see this type of content amongst the brain rot, right? I love it. I love it. So we're happy to be here over on Twitch with you guys and help you guys, just educate however we can, help you guys out through emerging technology. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to us. Like these 3 guys on the screen. Well,
Oh shit!
what?
I didn't even see
Go
your
ahead. What happened?
chat
What
this
happened?
whole time. But
Oh no, you're
it's
good. You're
been
good.
going off. We've been going off
Yeah.
in here
Dang.
with
Shout out to
with
the
Joe
chat.
and
Yeah.
Burberry.
And
Damn, so that's why you've been all busy. You've been typing in
Y'all been just
chat.
typing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for
nice.
sure.
So what we need is we need a fourth person that can just read all of the chats and tell us the different
Yeah.
comments, or us
Yeah.
be smart enough to have an AI agent assistant do that, right? And just like then we can, set time. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Sounds
That's
good.
actually
cool.
what I was
I
about to
love how
touch
you were
on.
able to like dive deep into like the very basics. So that's on Ohnahji B being the
Yeah.
teacher he is, cooking up always. Absolute legend.
Love it. I'll be
The
back.
funny
I'll be in
part,
the chats next week because I won't be like half hosting a space
no, you're
on
good.
another platform. But I wanted to say, if people are asking, so you want to get to know some of the basics about Web3, you want to learn about a specific blockchain or a platform, the AI is really great for just asking some questions to. So, you can also use that. Now it's gotten way better. So you can do a little bit of research on your own. Then next week, come back and ask us some in-depth questions, and we'll be, super happy to dive into whatever the watchers out there want to get into deeper, discuss, so yeah, come on back next week and give it to us, and
Heck
we'll
yeah.
jump into, any questions you got.
Yes,
Appreciate y'all out
sir.
there watching.
Let's talk about Web3 season 2. We out here 3 o'clock PST. It's a good time, and yeah, yeah. It's funny too. We talk about how we trying to get this stream thing together. Like I've only been streaming on Twitch for what, like a week, but yeah, we're deep in here when it comes to the topics we're covering. Right? We've been talking about this stuff. You know, sometimes punching the wall at people like, hey, listen to this, since 21, 22, some of us even earlier. Like, it's a good time. I think once Easy's talking about, let's get some AI to, integrate this into this chats and stuff. I think you guys are going to see us level up over here. And I think it'll be cool, especially for the chat, just to see kind of how we grow and kind of how we utilize Twitch. It's not going to be, probably the normal, rise to 1 million followers and all that good stuff. But we gonna integrate some tech over here. I promise you that, right? We gonna figure it out. So shout out to y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Yeah. What's going on, fam? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just excited, dude. I'm excited you guys invited me over to be part of the crew here. We talking
Heck yeah.
Web3 every week, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. We all, have social media over on X, and like we were talking a lot about Warpcast, and you can find us other places. Hit us in the DMs if you like got a specific question that we didn't hit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let's connect.
1,000%. I think all of our handles are the same too. Better Call Zal on all the other
I
platforms.
love that.
EZinCrypto, all the other platforms. Ohnahji on all the platforms. Keep it consistent, fam. This is a trick, a tip.
Well,
Like
other than the
go ahead.
decentralized issue of Easy in crypto was banned, so it's easy_CBD on Twitter. But everywhere else,
Okay.
Easy in crypto.
Put
Definitely
in
hit
the
him up.
chat. Put in the chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Cheers. Well, that
Yeah,
was
I'm already looking forward to next week. Well, we'll grab a couple
well,
interesting
I
topics.
think I was about to say we should each be in charge of one link. We each get one link that we get to share because we'll talk for more than 20 minutes about each link. We get one
For
link. We
sure.
get to find the best thing in the next week because now this is like we did a little bit of random news over the last however many months. Now we got 1 week for the next episode. We each got to get the juiciest thing, and maybe we'll get the chat if there is a chat at the beginning to vote on whose thing we're gonna go to first. That'd be a fun
Heck yeah.
little game we play. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Episode
What other
1.
what other what other it's 4 o'clock, but plug the other shows we got coming up. What other places and times can we tap in with you guys?
Oh man. So with everything that I'm doing, we are doing a weekly show with Adabody over and the Adabody Labs over at twitch.tv/Adabody. I should be streaming that as well tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we are always cooking up on spaces in our daily loan spaces at 11 a.m. EST. So that's 8 a.m. PST, super early in the morning for you Pacific folks. But we're always cooking Monday through Friday over there with Hurricane really bringing the heat and cooking up Wave Wars. So that'll be also coming up soon. But yeah, I know you
Yes,
guys
sir.
got a couple shows coming up as well.
And
Yeah.
I
Go ahead,
am
Easy.
every Friday through the Warpcast ecosystem, but there's also a standalone app, Farhouse. Been hosting Farhouse Fridays for the last like 3 months or so. So that's a weekly show on Friday at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern, but we might be bumping it to 5 and 8 because that's the exact same time that the Monday show is, which is Easy's Corner. I've been hosting it for over 5 years. Every Monday, well,
Hey.
maybe a few Mondays off, but basically every Monday for over 5 years. That's in the Token Smart Discord. So if you're in Discords, that would be discord.gg/NFT. Pretty easy to remember the slash
Hey.
NFT. That's how old we be. That's how old we grab that. So yeah, that's a great OG community. Been around forever. Do a lot of stuff. That gets streamed into X and YouTube, and I think over here on Twitch too, under the Token Smart name as well. And of course, I'm always over in the ZAO Fractal meetup just a little before that. If you wind up jumping in over there, and yeah, I'm basically just all over these virtual streets. Keep your eye out.
You know? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What time is your Friday one?
That is 4 PST, 7 EST, and the Monday is 5 and 8. So I'm thinking to swap the Friday one to 5 and 8 just to make it easy. So we're probably going to be doing that maybe even this week. We're discussing amongst the co-hosted team.
Sick. All right. Because I was debating if I was going to shout out my little Friday. It's a one-off, but it's at 2 p.m. PST. I'm sitting down with one of my super dev friends, Steve Walson. That's going to be a conversation over on X, over on Twitter.
Web3
Go ahead.
security, Steve?
Is that? I don't know if.
Steve
Yeah,
Wilson.
maybe.
I think that's the same Steve that was doing Web3 security at the last Impact concert. I just met him recently, but yo, he's a good guest, bro. That's dope.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Steve's with the pirate hat, PFP.
Yes, that's him. That's Steve.
Yeah, shout out to
Wilson.
Steve. So yeah, we got an undivided attention space coming up with him on this Friday, 2 p.m. PST, and then every week we have our staple Ohnahji use Saturdays. Those are 10 a.m. PST on Saturday. So, and this week's gonna be a special one because last week we did it second time on Twitch, first time working on Twitch with one of my co-hosts. First time on camera. Shout out to IC Through. But this week we're gonna have IC Through and my Dina Comms Boss 2.0, and so it's gonna be another special stream this Saturday. So Saturday, 10 a.m. PST.
Nice.
That's it
and
for
of
me,
course,
y'all.
come back here next week, 3 PST,
Yes,
6 EST, and
for
we'll all
episode
have
2.
our special links. But I think if there's like good action in the chat, that should just take over, and we're just like, hit what they want.
Yep. All right, y'all.
Cheers.
Peace. Hold all the vibes.
We'll see you next time. Heck yeah.